And welcome back to SA Sports Show. I'm Greg Anderson, and Barry, what about our next guest?
Well, this is amazing.
This is,
very topical because Australia's favourite racehorse again.
Australia's favourite. Let me tell you, it's one of the greatest stories, and it's just amazing. It really is amazing. But I'll just introduce Andrew Hancock, Adrian Hancock from Hancock Quality Bloodstock. Yeah, so that's all about buying racehorses.
Yeah, essentially an agent for buying thoroughbreds, buying and selling thoroughbreds, and commission agent, and I try and find horses for people or sell them for people.
Oh, okay. That's a question I was going to ask you about. Yeah, being Hancock Quality Bloodstock, is it not just for you? Your people will come to you and say, "Hey, I need."
Oh yeah, no,
I'm looking for a horse.
Yeah, I'm like a real estate agent, I guess.
Yeah.
I source bloodstock, I buy bloodstock for people, and I charge a fee or a commission. And that's how I do some work for Magic Millions. I used to work for Magic Millions full time many years ago, and then I've been on my own for 20 years. So.
And you were there that day? You were there that day when the now famous Winx was sold, and just a moderate price too.
I wouldn't mind the moderate money. 230,000. Look, it was a big sale. It's the Gold Coast sale at Magic Millions. It's one of the major sales in Australia. It's the biggest grossing yearling sale in Australia.
But it only was bought averagely.
Well, she made 230,000.
Average sale was
average
upper
sale
twos,
was.
And there was some that went for over $1 million, and this went it was cheap.
Well, on hindsight,
hindsight,
she was great buying, but she wasn't a standout. She was in amongst the pack.
Amazing.
There was 60. I worked out there were 60 odd horses sold for more than her at the sale. Everyone had their chance to buy her. You know, if people buy yearlings, and you can take 5% shares and 10% shares or 100%, whatever the buyer wants, and. So everyone had their chance to buy her.
So how do you pick them? How do you pick them?
Well,
seriously?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be on a boat around Barbados.
Of course you would. I mean, 230,000 for
Winx.
Had a pretty good background though. You mentioned before the horse, but still, you've still got to have the. I was going to say balls. I will say balls. I've just already said it. To actually spend 230 on a horse that's or 230,000, you just don't know.
No, you don't, and that's what makes the industry so wonderful. Everybody can have a go, and the wealthiest people in the world, the sheikhs and the whoever, they spend millions, but it doesn't guarantee success.
No.
Well, you look at McGivey Diva, of course. A lot of his offsprings haven't really performed that well at all. No,
Tony bought the mother of her in England carrying McGivey Diva. The mare was pregnant. So she was foaled in England, and they tried to sell her over there, and they couldn't get a bid for her.
Really?
So they brought her out to Australia, and the rest is history. McGivey Diva. So there you go.
Yeah. So I want a horse. I go to you. What do you look for in a horse? What do you look for at the sale? Would you go to something like this, the sales, to find me a horse, or would you? Where would you go?
Oh, you can go.
And what do you look
to
for?
Auctions. You can buy them privately out of the paddocks, any which way. Look, I don't profess to be a great judge, but I think, like anything in sport, you look for an athlete and you look for a bit of quality. I always think quality in the eye, good character. Yearling sales are very stressful situations. They're only young horses. They're in and out of a box up to 100, 200 times in the space of 2 or 3 days. The pressure's on. They don't get much chance to just put their head down and lay down. And they've got to walk up and back. Buyers look at them front on, side on, back on. They get vetted, they get poked at, prodded at.
Wow.
But the amazing thing with Winx, and I think you guys being sports people would appreciate it, her longevity to do what she did over 6 seasons and not miss a beat. We all have bad days. We all take the wrong turn. We all wake up feeling a bit cranky, a bit sore. To perform like she has, the longevity and the training of Chris Waller. Same with Peter Moody with Black Caviar.
Sure.
The longevity is astounding.
It's amazing.
To be number one all that way through astounds me, really.
And if you had a couple of dollars on a race one and just kept turning it over...
I think a few people have done that.
It's quite a mill.
Yes.
It's around about a mill.
Yeah.
Only just short of a mill.
And playing with their money all the time.
Exactly right. It staggers me. That was a question I was going to ask. How does this horse just continually get up and win? Because it's not beating the same horses every week. Other people are sort of hammering, I can go to a horse that'll beat that. I listen to commentators say, I think a couple of races ago, but this field this has got so and so and so and so in it that are a bit of a chance to knock her off. But surely they couldn't have meant that.
No, look, she took on the best. They took on her. Some tried it a few times and then didn't try again because it virtually broke their heart. She was going as well at the end of her career as she was ever going. The time she ran, quite often, I think even on the last day when she won the Queen Elizabeth a week or so ago, she ran the fastest last 600 of the day, regardless of all the other sprint races and all the other races. So her level and her competitiveness and her will to win, they're born.
Born to run.
They're born.
But why now? Why put out to paddock now? I mean,
well, she is 7. I mean, what more do you want out of her?
A couple of million?
Couple of million,
Yeah, exactly. But
do you feel yourself that it sort of could quite comfortably win another 5 races?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, then Chris, you only had to see her the next morning. I only saw her on TV. Yeah. She looked absolutely glowing and comfortable and happy. Yeah. But I think they've done the right thing. It's a shame she didn't go overseas, but I think she's slightly claustrophobic. She was always a bit iffy in the barriers.
Okay. Yep.
Maybe the plane trip was a bit of a problem, possibly. All those equations, but we've got the best prize money in Australia, nearly, and she's earned what 26 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, marvellous.
Can I ask you about? You just mentioned about horses being a bit dodgy in the barrier. What was the name of that horse that refused to go? What was it? Chiquita? Was it?
Oh,
what was the thing that refused to go?
Probably a few like
well, my dad reckons you refused to go a couple of times at
Absolutely,
Rosewood.
I did. That's him, Chicago. Just refused to go, and not a bad horse.
No, champion. Great horse.
But what makes a horse do that?
Oh, well, I suppose I don't think he wasn't unhappy. It was just his mannerism, I guess. He might have had a real
frustrating.
His bonnet about something.
Oh yeah, that was a really good horse. That
wonderful horse.
Won some big money and whatever.
He was a superstar.
If you could just get him out of the gate, but he wouldn't come out of the gate. He wouldn't. He stayed there.
Towards the end of his career.
Yeah, towards the end, he wouldn't come out anymore.
Yeah, they tried.
Anything like yielding wise that you think probably going to come up and be probably not as successful, but something we should sort of keep an eye out. That's a year or so away from racing.
Look, Greg, we've been very fortunate in our lifetimes. We've seen Mackay Diva, Black Caviar, and Winks. 3 mares, and they all in their own right are superstars. Winks, Mackay Diva to win 3 Melbourne Cups.
Yeah. Well, it's actually probably more leading for this weekend's racing.
Yeah, so. And then Black Caviar undefeated 25 times. Look, I don't know. Chris Waller trained a filly called Very Elegant, who won the AJC Oaks last week that Winks ran second in. One of the few times she was beaten. She looks a very good filly. Whether she'll ever reach the heights of Winks, I don't know. She doesn't seem to quite have the temperament.
Well, there's one.
But look, something will, in our lifetime, be hard to imagine something else.
We've been very fortunate, haven't we, really? It's been amazing because even overseas you don't get this sort of run with great horses. Like you just mentioned 3. In America you might get one that stands out and, whoa, you beauty, but not 3 in... What are we talking here? Decade?
15 years?
Yeah, that's all, isn't it? We're talking 15 years.
We're talking 3 absolute guns here.
Absolute.
So for it to happen again would be. Oh yeah. Well, I hope I'm on it.
Adrian, thank you so much for coming in and wow to be part of that little bit of history when you're actually watching that horse Winks just circling around and who's going to put a bid in for it and. You were there at.
You would have seen some great things. You would have seen some unbelievable money.
Yes,
at these.
Yeah, extraordinary the money that's spent.
I'm sorry, I know we've got to go to an ad break, but you were saying in that particular sale that one horse actually went for over $1 million.
Yeah, $1.35 million.
$1.35 million. And
that horse, he became a horse called Valentia, who now stands at stud at Sam Hayes' property at Cornerstone Stud at Angaston. He only won 2 races, but he won a race in the lead up to the Golden Slipper called the Skyline Stakes.
Okay, yeah.
So he didn't win. He won about $200,000. So a long way short of his purchase price. But he's earning money at stud at the stallion.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And maybe he'll be a top stallion, and then it's when the big bickies will come.
Fantastic, Adrian. Thanks so much for coming and telling some stories. It's brilliant. And we'll be back after the break.